So Resident Evil and Dead by Daylight are having a huge collaboration coming on up, and there's a lot in the air for speculation on what the characters are going to be that are coming into the game. But today, I have an interesting theory for you guys, and I think we may have cracked the case of what we can see. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and the king, welcome back to the channel. Today, as mentioned, we have an amazing theory that we're going to be talking about on who the new survivors can be, as well as the killer, and what are our thoughts and opinions. Now, keep in mind, this is really early, so take everything with a grain of salt. We don't really know what's going to be coming on out, but this is my educated guess and theory, and hopefully we'll get it correct. Of course, if you do enjoy this video, make sure you leave a like down below and subscribe for some more Dead by Daylight content. Now, we haven't actually posted a video in a long time. It's almost 2 weeks, and I do apologize for that. I was just taking some days to myself to enjoy myself, and now we're back and we're ready to do this. So that being said, let's go ahead and jump on into this. Now, a huge shout out to Fiendish Deadman on Twitter as well. He basically gave me a big script of why he thinks this is going to be coming out, and a lot of my ideas also correlated with his ideas, and since he played Resident Evil a lot more than me, it all ties it all well together. Now, in the teasers that we saw, there wasn't much that we can go off of. When we talk about the zombie noises, that can just be linked to ambience. When we talk about the map, that can be linked to Shelter Woods. And when we talk about the survivor that we see there, that can easily be linked to Felix. There isn't much in this teaser that, gave us any information. And frankly, it's good that they did it like that to build up hype at the right time. However, there is one thing that I do want to point out. At the start, as soon as the actual teaser starts, we can see that the umbrella charm is falling off. This is pretty significant. This is clearly a reference to Leon and Resident Evil 2, so the ongoing theory is that this is strictly going to be linked to Leon. Now, obviously, in Resident Evil 2 as well, there's a big storyline going on with Leon and Claire. For those of you guys that don't know, they basically got deployed to Raccoon City because of the T-virus being there, and then Mr. X came in, which we'll talk about in a second. So it kind of makes sense that they're going to be bringing both of these characters into the game, similar to Stranger Things, where they brought very dynamic and interesting characters into the actual Dead by Daylight scene that weren't necessarily the main characters, but were very significant to the entire series. Frankly, there is no main characters, and that's kind of how it is in Resident Evil, but these are very iconic characters that make a lot of sense. Not to mention, the 98 game got remade in 2019, if I'm not mistaken, and a lot of people build up hype around that as well. Got to play it again, so it makes a lot of sense that these two characters are going to be coming in, especially of how iconic they are. Now, there's even more evidence that we might be getting two survivors to this when it comes down to Claire, just because of phrases and words that Matthew Cote actually said in this interview or scene that he made.
Because look, you have two choices here. Kill or be killed. It's your call.
Now, in the clip, Matthew actually says you have two choices. It's either killed or be killed. And this is a quote that is directly from Claire herself. So it makes a lot of sense that he would be referencing this if she's going to be coming on into the game, and to give the Resident Evil fans a little bit of hype into that. Not to mention, he also says too, makes a lot of sense. These little small teases are typically what end up being big things, and people at the end, they were like, whoa. For example, like when they had the quote talking about STARS, and it's abbreviated for Special Tactics and Rescue Service in Resident Evil, and now we look back at it and we're like, wow, this was such an obvious clue, how come we didn't see it? So it's little things like this that we need to pick up on, and again, this is why I think that we're going to be getting two survivors. Now, I'm not ruling out any other survivors as well. Looking back at the past events that Dead by Daylight have done, especially with the Silent Hill franchise with Konami, can give us an insight on what they're going to be doing with the Resident Evil chapter, considering they're both iconic games, and they'll probably go along the same route. Now, obviously, every business deal is different, but I think from both standpoints, it is smart and tactical to bring in licensed characters that are legendary skins, in order to give the community what they want. With such a vast cast in Resident Evil, you can literally bring in so much people like Chris or Jill or any other characters into the game as legendary skins and have them just being the other characters. We actually see them doing this with Stranger Things coming up, where we're getting legendary skins for Steve and Jonathan, so it makes a lot of sense. We can even potentially get some skins for the killer as well. Which brings us to the killer section of this. Who is the killer that we are expected to see? Now, if we look back at what they did with Konami, they kind of grabbed everything from different games and different parts and just plopped them all together. But the reason that they did this, and they specified as well, was that you can't really bring in any characters from Konami that weren't as significant. And one of the most significant characters from the Silent Hill franchise was Pyramid Head, so it kind of made sense. Now, if you think about Resident Evil, you have a little bit more of a big cast that you can pick from, notably being Mr. X, as he goes exactly with Leon and Claire, chasing them around Raccoon City and the Raccoon City Police Department in order to eliminate them. Now, we can also see legendary skins coming out for this in the way of Tyrant and other characters, or it could just be a complete curveball, and they might do what they did with Konami and bring in like the Baker family. But a brand new vampire lady, Lady Demistricu? I always am going to butcher her name. But maybe they even do that as a legendary skin in Freddy. We've seen them doing this with Robbie the Rabbit for the Legion, so something like that could happen because she does have the claws, so it could make sense. I don't really see that one happening too much though. But going back to my initial thought, I think that the character that we're going to be seeing is Mr. X. What's really awesome and fun about this was that we actually seen a fan-made creation on what this would look like in the game, and it really sets up the possibility that something like this is going to happen. Now, lore-wise, this also makes perfect sense as Mr. X is literally chasing Leon and Claire all over the place, so why not just bring them into the Entities realm and have them being chased there? You can then bring on all the legendary skins to make yourself a good profit, as well as give the players an opportunity to play their favorite characters, and you'll still have a lot of cool perks similar to Steve and Nancy, and I think it just makes a lot of sense. As for the map itself, I think that we are going to be getting another indoor map, sadly. We might be seeing the Raccoon City, the police department, but I think it would be better if they did half and half, where, you know, some of the gates and some of the doors are locked, similar to the game itself, where you need to actually find the puzzle pieces and everything and the keys to open these doors so you can have them locked. Give a little Easter egg where it's like, hey, look, you can see the symbols that we need and all the little puzzles and all those intricate things, but you can go through side entrances and other places that will lead to the outside of the map and give more of that city feel. I wouldn't want them to do an exactly like city map, considering the all-kill chapter is something that I'd love to see with them experiment with, and it wouldn't be as satisfying if we got like 2 city maps. I think if we had one significant one, it would be really, really nice, and not have a duplicate and just be something similar but not the same. So making it half and half is what I think would be the best route for them. That one's just up in the air. So drawing the theory back all together, I think that we are going to be seeing Leon and Claire just because of all the compelling evidence that they have. If we're bringing those 2 characters in, it logically makes sense that Mr. X is going to be on his way as well. As for the teaser itself, it doesn't really give us much information, and the zombies are just ambience, the survivors just Felix, and the map can just be Shelter Woods. And yeah, that is my theory. What do you guys think? Do you guys think I'm crazy? I think it actually makes a lot of sense, and this is something that we could be seeing, and this is what we could expect to happen in the game. But again, it is very early. It is still only April, and we're not going to find out until May 26th. So we're going to make a lot of theories until then. Tomorrow, we're actually going to look at what it's going to be if those characters were fully implemented into the game, what the gameplay would be like, what the perks would be like, and things like that. So stay tuned. I hope you guys did enjoy. Let me know if you agree or disagree with my theory. Do you think someone else is going to be coming on in? I would love to hear in the comments below. But my friends, that's going to wrap it up for this video. As always, I'm the King. I tip my crown to you guys, and we'll see you in the fall.